Now, digging into the cybersecurity risks specifically associated with AI, the OWASP group has developed a top 10 for LLMs. And so I'm going to go through them. I'm not going to dig into every one of them in the interest of time here, but we'll talk through some of them and what those challenges are that we need to be thinking about. And as I go through them, you'll see they fit into one of three categories. Some of them are related to network compromise, some are related to direct data leakage, and then some are related to denial of service. So see if you can, figure out which one they apply to or what you think each one, which bucket they fall into as I'm going through them here. So prompt injection, I think this is a sort of an easy one to understand, but this is basically when an LLM is tricked into doing something that is unintended, like redirecting a user to a site that is going to collect credentials or something like that. The next one is insecure output handling. All right. And that's basically when output is not scrutinized. And when it's not scrutinized, if it's accepted without scrutiny, then it can expose back-end systems. And it can really lead to severe consequences like cross-site scripting, privilege escalation, remote code execution, you name it. So, the output of our models need to be heavily scrutinized. It's like the same thing with databases. Obviously, training data poisoning, garbage in, garbage out, right? And that's just from the perspective of bad data. If you put bad data into a model unintentionally, you're going to get bad data out. If an attacker puts bad data into a model intentionally, then what comes out of that model is going to be something that's probably negatively impacting the business, but something positive for an attacker. Model denial of service. This is kind of what I touched on in the last slide when I was saying, what if you can't access the model at all, right? So just throwing tons and tons and tons of resources at the model to overwhelm it so that other resources that need to leverage it are unable to, and that can cripple a business. Sorry, I went too far forward there. Supply chain vulnerabilities. Now, this is not in the traditional sense of supply chain that we would think about. It's supply chain as it relates to the model, right? And the components that make up models. So if you have vulnerabilities within the components that make up your model, then an attacker can exploit that as well. Sensitive info disclosure, of course. Insecure plugin design, right? Like plugins need to be secure. And this is not new, right? We've been having these conversations when, developing applications, when we talk about cloud, we talk about all the things, secure by design needs to be the goal here. Excessive agency. This was an interesting one to me when I was reading up on it. This basically means giving the model too much privilege, so that it's able to do too much within the business. And my recommendation here would be to treat AI agents or Gen AI agents or whatever you have as agents, treat them as users and make sure you're considering them. Like if your approach is that you're leveraging a zero trust methodology, make sure that you're leveraging the zero trust for your AI agents as well. Over-reliance, I mentioned this as it relates to users, as it relates to technology dependence, depending too much on the model, not really having governance in place to scrutinize what's going into the model, what's coming out of the model, taking things at face value is very dangerous. And then lastly, model theft, right? If there's a model that's built that's literally the IP of an organization and that's stolen, that can have a detrimental impact to an organization. Moving on to AI risk management, I just wanted to share, in the interest of time, I won't spend a ton of time on this, but I did want to share that NIST does have an AI risk management framework. And so obviously the goal is to govern, right, what you're doing with AI, and you're creating this risk management framework around that. But the goal is to basically, after you've established your policies, your roles, and who's accountable, we're going to develop AI responsibly and all of those things, you need to look at all of your AI related risk across across the process that you already have in place. Or if you're looking to introduce AI, you want to look at the risk associated with introducing it into the organization. Then you want to quantify and evaluate. This is standard risk management, like we've been doing, for years. And then you want to manage it. You don't want to just say, okay, we've done the risk assessment, we've identified the risk, we put AI in place, we're good to go. You want to continue to manage that. Make sure you have metrics or controls to monitor what's going on, to mitigate anything that may come up, so you can continuously monitor and manage.